everyone, it's Melanie here at the Halton Hills Chamber of Commerce, and I am so excited today to be sitting here virtually with Meryl from Aramosa Physiotherapy and with Dr. Julia from Healthspan Wellness. These two ladies who are chamber members had an amazing event about a month ago, and it was called So Cute, Hormones and High Tea. And we don't talk a lot about hormones in the business world, but let me tell you, it's impactful. And so we had a great conversation about how they are supporting women through menopause. We say menopause out loud now, loud and proud. It's destigmatized. And so I invited them on here so we could talk today about how their own businesses are supporting women through menopause, and also how we can, as employers, how we can support our staff that are going through this. So ladies, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Melanie.
My pleasure. So as I mentioned, menopause is destigmatized, or at least we're heading there, hopefully. So, you know, Dr. Julia, can you tell us a little bit about what the Hormones and High Tea event was about, and, you know, what you were hoping to convey to the participants?
For sure. Thanks, Melanie. So Meryl and I know each other really quite well here in the community, and we do a lot of cross-referring back and forth as well. And we both realized independently that there was a really strong groundswell of women that had a lot of questions about their hormonal health, and particularly involving perimenopause and menopause. And so we got talking and thinking, gosh, we need like a community event to bring these women together so we can help to educate, help them understand all the resources available in our local community here. And so we looked at each other and said, well, how come we're not doing it? And so that's how it came about. And so it took a few months to kind of pull it together, but I'll tell you, there is so much support from our business community, particular women-led businesses, as sponsors of the event, as well as donating prizes. And I'll tell you, we have such a strong community of health-oriented businesses here in Halton Hills. That there's, you know, we can provide so much to women going through perimenopause and menopause. And so that's kind of how the event came about. It was a 3-hour event held at the Gellert, and we sold out 100 attendees, and women of all different ages, looking for different types of information from the event. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Meryl?
It was a lot of fun, yeah. And it was actually really nice to see too, because there were women who came with their mothers, right? Or they came, yeah, which was fantastic to see, because I think that we tried to cover enough information so that it was across the age span. People were able to grab information from that.
That's great. And what did you find, and what did you take from it that'll help inform how you're supporting your patients on a go-forward basis? What kind of deficiencies do you find that women specifically, are getting as far as information?
I think a lot of women are just looking for information and correct information. I think in this age, we're bombarded with lots of information. It's trying to weed through, things that are true and things that are not true. Right. So I think, like I said, I think even just hearing from comments from people who attended, they were just happy that they were able to come into one place and then hear the different speakers talk about different topics across that age span. So, and then, they were really grateful in terms of asking lots of questions and having lots of questions answered that they had on their hotbed of things that they just didn't know what to do and what they could do for themselves. So we also tried to provide a lot of information on things that they could do to empower themselves as well, along with, different people in the community that they could reach out to.
Okay, so I found a real groundswell on social media lately of women are finally taking our hormones back almost and saying, no, this is something we are going to talk about. And I know it impacts the workplace. So, Julie, maybe you can talk a little bit about how it impacts the workplace, and maybe what kind of symptoms women can know that aren't, they're not crazy, right? It's a physical manifestation of something that we all go through.
Well, it's true, and the Menopause Foundation of Canada actually just released the report this fall. They've been working on this, compiling this research for years now, and really what they discovered was the number of women that leave the workforce in their perimenopausal or postmenopausal years because of symptoms of the hormonal changes was just staggering, and it was actually affecting the economy as well, in the tune of billions of dollars a year. And so I think we have to realize that when we are in that perimenopausal 40 plus age range, where we know inevitably these hormonal changes are going to be happening, that we're also generally at the height of our careers. You know, and as well too as business women, we really have to stay on our game. And even though there's a lot of hormonal shifts that are happening, there can be a lot of issues that happen with sleep, with brain fog, with depression, and just literally the fact that some women have such irregular periods and such difficult and heavy periods that literally affects their ability to show up at work and again, their quality of life overall. So there's so many things. It's not just about hot flashes and night sweats. You know, when we speak about perimenopause, it's those profound changes with sometimes bleeding extremely heavy, being anemic, months and sometimes years of ongoing difficult flow. There can be, as we mentioned, depression. About 70% of women going through perimenopause will experience depression. And some of those women for the first time experiencing depression. So that can certainly affect their work life, their home life, their motivation levels. Certainly lack of sleep is sometimes some of the first symptoms of perimenopause, with night sweats and brain fog sometimes as a result. A lot of women find it very difficult to multitask. And there are so many women that unknowingly we're dealing with undiagnosed ADHD in the earlier part of their lives. And it really comes to a head as they move through perimenopause because it amplifies with the hormonal changes.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things affect whether you're an employer or an employee. There are women likely in your organization, if not yourself, that are going through some of these changes.
Sure. You know, and the interesting thing is, you know, here in a community like Halton Hills, you know, some of the women that are facing this might be women that are running their own business, right? So here they're trying to, you know, blaze a path of success, and they're dealing with some stuff behind the scenes. So Meryl, when your clients come to you, what kinds of things can you do to help support them feel better and feel more confident that they're getting the answers that they need to be at performance?
Definitely. To touch on just some of the other, there are also pelvic health symptoms that also occur during this time. So sometimes what we notice is we develop urgency and frequency with going to the washroom. Frequent UTIs can also occur. And so those can be all, again, a result of the hormonal changes that happen. And so, you know, we go from, you know, not having any issues to already having some issues. We also see lots of clients with joint pain. So all of a sudden they have no joint pain, but then they've got pain everywhere. And this can be a time where people do get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but sometimes it's more of that hormonal shift. So when people come to see us, we definitely take a look at that age group. We look at all of their symptoms and then try to give them a plan on, you know, how to get themselves mobile, how to get themselves stronger. As we age at around that 30 age group, we start to actually lose strength progressively. So it's usually about 2 to 5% that we lose. And then in perimenopause, we actually start to lose, it accelerates as we start to lose about 3 to 5% on top of that. So, you know, these are things that we just start to notice, right? Our grip strength reduces, we're not able to lift and carry as much. So our goal is to try to reduce a lot of the symptoms that they're having in whatever joint that they're noticing it. Typically it's shoulders, backs, feet, and then also improving their pelvic health as well. So we run a large practice in town addressing women's pelvic health concerns. So any incontinence, both urinary and fecal, any of the joint pain that's associated with that. Just to get them feeling better and know that they don't have to be a slave to the washroom as well. And we find that a lot of women are uncomfortable going to work if they're constantly going to the washroom, especially if their employers are noticing that they're leaving their desk quite a bit.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And it's not an easy conversation to have, regardless of whether you like the cost or not. So interesting. So what I'm hearing though is what you're saying to women is, come to us, come and see your healthcare providers to say, this is what I'm feeling and what I'm dealing with. What can we do to help?
That's correct. Yeah, because some of those symptoms we think are just a normal part of aging because it's happened to our parents, right? So we feel like we just have to live with those symptoms. And sometimes we hear that from, our family doctors, right? That, it's a part of aging, but just know that there are lots of different things that we can do just to empower ourselves to make us feel better and to kind of move into the next phase of our life in a smoother fashion.
Yeah, that sounds great. And Julia, what about you when your clients and patients come to you? What kind of protocols do you look at with them to help support them through this? I hate calling it a transition, but I guess it is, right?
It's such a natural part of life too. It's inevitable. Like a woman, if she's fortunate enough, is going to transition through into menopause. So, and menopause isn't a medical event, and so there are the destination is the same, but the journey, how we get there, can be so different, and so there can be different levels of support that women need. And so what I do is I work on 4 different tiers of support. So the foundation of that is education. So it's helping women understand what's happening, what's normal, maybe what isn't normal, what do we have to rule out, this may not be perimenopause, this might be something else. And then also educating them on their unique risks as far as bone density, cardiovascular risk, diabetes risk, and helping them to understand their lab work, and making sure that there's no gaps in that as well too, making sure they're keeping up with all the routine screening. So that's the foundation, which is education. And I think every woman deserves and needs to know those foundational pieces. The second tier of care is what we call the cake or the lifestyle pieces. And that's how women take care of themselves. So that's nutrition, fitness, mindset, and sleep. And those 4 factors can make a huge difference in how women transition into menopause. And sometimes they're not given enough time or enough energy in terms of explaining to women what they can do on a daily basis that will help with their hormones and their health. The third tier of care is looking at supplements. A lot of women will come, well, do I need to take supplements? Do I need to take this or that, or calcium or vitamin D or omega-3s or collagen? And the list goes on. And so I really help to sort through some of that and get women on the stuff that they need, the right form, the right dosage, the right duration. And then the last tier of care is menopause hormone therapy. And I call that the sprinkles. That's the sprinkle on top. So not all women need menopause hormone therapy. Some women, all they need through their menopausal transition is they need the education. What's happening in their body? What are their lab numbers? What are their risk factors? And they don't need really a whole lot of other coaching. Some women need 2 or 3 layers of care. Some women need all 4 tiers. And so really what I try to do is work with women to help them get the support that they need so that they can make the transition on their terms. And so that, again, I call it, have your cake and eat it too, which is midlife can be so wonderful. I mean, it can be a wonderful time of life. There's so many things that come with being in our 40s and our 50s that are wonderful, but we just don't want to have that drowned out by a rough perimenopause, problems sleeping, problems with mood, all of these things that can certainly sneak up.
Yeah, and I think if we talk about it more, and if we, I'm happy to tell people my age and that I am in menopause and dealing with a lot of the stuff that other people are, but it's a vital time of my life, and so I'm with both of you. You've got to find what you need to do to help you through it and advocate for yourself. So I think what we'll do is we're going to send people to you each with some links that we'll list below. Do you have an event coming up though, or any plans for Hormone and High Tea Part 2?
Well, we'll get back to you on that one, Melanie. Nothing firmed up, but we've had enough requests that I think we need to, after the holiday, kind of put our heads together and decide what that might look like for next year.
Yeah, and we had talked about this before, but we'll definitely put it into, maybe we'll do an in-person lunch event here at the chamber office for anybody that wants to come in and eat their lunch, but get some more information from you that way too. I just think it's so important. And I just want to say I'm so happy that you both are chamber members, and that you're helping not only women come to a place in their life where they can feel happier and healthier, but businesses too, where they can support their employees. So thank you so much for this. I'll make sure to include all your links. And then do you have anything that you want to sign off with? One maybe quick 20-second thing you'd like to tell your patients or clients?
Yeah, exactly what Julie said is just to say, it's an excellent time of our life. So it's about looking forward to what life has to offer, and having a great mindset about it, right? And just kind of, like I said, motoring through the next phase.
Yeah. And I want to emphasize too that within, like I mentioned, our local community, we have so many fantastic resources. Like Meryl here with pelvic floor physiotherapy. We have amazing fitness studios as well. So when women need help from that end of things too. Gosh, we have so many wonderful multidisciplinary clinics here in Halton Hills that explore your local community. You've got big city services here in town with small town service. Yeah. And so I really encourage,
Super. Well, ladies, thank you so much. This was really great. I'm glad we made the time to get together, and we will sign off from here, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Melanie.
Thank you.